I'm Kevin Washington, 6th generation descendant of Sam and Harriet Barber. Before you watch the video, I just want to let you guys know that it was an honor to be able to make this, and I hope you really enjoy it. Thanks. Welcome to the Harriet Barber House, a home for history. Sam and Harriet Barber moved to this property in 1872. They built a log cabin at this location, but that cabin burned down. This house was built around 1880 to replace the log cabin. The Barber family has kept possession of this property since 1872. In September of 1981, the Barber House received recognition from the South Carolina Bicentennial Committee's Historic Homes and Buildings Landmark Program. It is an example of a significant visual, architectural, and cultural landmark illustrating the historical development distinctive to Richland County. We have been told that Sam and Harriet lived in the Kingville area before they purchased this tract of land with 42.5 acres from the South Carolina Land Commission. Sam Barber was born in Blackstone, Virginia. We do not know exactly how he came to South Carolina or when he arrived here. We did not know when he was born until we found this document showing his voter registration for the Gadsden precinct in the year 1882. He gave his age as 80 years old, so we were able to calculate that he had to have been born around 1802. Harriet was much younger than Sam when they were married. We found another document that shows the marriage of Sam Barber Jr. to Clarissa Mack in Richland County in 1868. The Reverend Sam Barber officiated the marriage of his son Sam Jr. to Clarissa, and they lived on the property next to Sam and Harriet. During the years of Reconstruction, the legislature created a program to allow the recently freed slaves the opportunity to purchase land at a low interest rate. They were given 7 years to pay for the land. Many other families in this area had the opportunity to take advantage of this program. However, many of them lost their land for various reasons. A few of the families have kept ownership of the land to this day. However, the Barber House is the only house still remaining on property purchased from that program. That is one of the reasons that the house is on the National Register of Historic Places. Someone in the Barber family has lived in this house up until the 1980s. It looked quite different then. When the house became empty, it began to deteriorate. In 1999, the first efforts were begun to restore the house. The Barber family received the first grant from the Richland County Conservation Commission in 2006 when they created grants for historic preservation. They received funding for 3 years from the Conservation Commission, and they also received $40,000 from Senator Darrell Jackson and the state legislature to complete the project as you see it today. When they began the work on the house, Mr. Herbert DaCosta of Charleston recommended Mr. Johnny Martin of Columbia for the project. He and his crew removed all of the sheetrock from the walls and ceilings and paneling that was added later. If you look closely, you will see the original whitewashed walls and some of the old newspaper that was plastered on the walls to cover the cracks. You will see that new floors had to be installed to replace the rotten wood caused by leaks in the roof. Some of the interior walls had damage as well and had to be replaced. In this room, you will also see some of the original pieces of furniture that belonged to the Barber family. John Benjamin Barber was the youngest child born to Sam and Harriet. He was born in 1872, the year that they bought this property. Unfortunately, we do not have any pictures of Sam and Harriet, but we do have pictures of their youngest son, John Benjamin Barber. John went to school at Benedict College in Columbia, where he trained to be a teacher and a preacher. He taught at several schools in the Lower Richland area. He married Mamie Holly in 1898, and this is a copy of their marriage certificate in this frame on the wall. You also see a picture of John and Mamie Barber in this very room here. Remarkably, the furniture has been restored to this condition after being stored in the garage for a number of years. You also see documents displayed here that tell us more about the Barber family and the values they had. This document is dated 1879, the year that Harriet Barber made the last payment on the property. We are told that that is the reason the house is called the Harriet Barber House. The next document in the frame is dated 1878. This was the year that money was apparently short, and the family had to offer a black ox for payment for the land, This also suggests to us that the family was prepared to keep the land free and clear by any means necessary so that it could be passed down to future generations. These are pictures of family members who were born in this house. This is John Barber Jr., who lived in Detroit, Michigan until his death in 2019. He recalled many of the stories about family members that he heard from his parents, grandparents, and other relatives. Would you believe that at the age of 98, he sent out emails almost every day, and he could be found on Facebook as well? This is a sketch of the well that was built by Sam Barber. John Barber Jr. sent us the sketch, and Mr. Martin built it for us. Sam Barber was a well digger, and we were told that the water from the well served the family from the time they moved to the property until pumps replaced the wells in this area. We were also told that the wells served the surrounding families until they were able to establish their own. This room houses a collection of artifacts and furnishings donated by family members and friends. We have school groups for tours throughout the year, and it's always fascinating to see their reactions when we tell them that the family lived in just these two rooms. You see, there was no bathroom and there was no kitchen. The food was cooked outside for the most part, and of course, there had to be an outhouse out back. The sewing machine that you see here belonged to the Barber family. This is not the first one because we found a receipt dated 1883 with an illustration of a sewing machine that Harriet Barber purchased. Now, we will leave the museum rooms and enter into the new additions to the house. As the family grew and prospered, they added on rooms to the original two-room house. Around 1935, electricity came to the Hopkins area. This area was a large bedroom that was built to accommodate the growing family. There were two large iron beds here, and a large porch was built outside. After a few years, another room was added, and finally the kitchen was built inside. Another bedroom was built on the other side of what was called the sitting room. The large piece of furniture there is actually a wardrobe that belonged to Sam Barber. The story that has been passed down to the family recalls when it was loaded onto the wagon and brought here from Kingville. If you look closely on the sides of the wardrobe, you will see the wooden pegs used to construct it. The next room you will see was basically furnished by the Hopkins High School Alumni Foundation. It is also a tribute to education in the Lower Richland area. The Columbia Star newspaper printed an article about the Barber family when Ulysses R. Barber was still living. The title was, "Barber Family Holds Record of Teaching in Richland County for Over 100 Years." In the article, you see the picture of John Benjamin Barber, born in 1872, Ulysses R. Barber, born in 1913, Mabel Haygood, born in 1908, and Celestine Daniels, the first child born to John Benjamin Barber and Mamie Holly Barber. She was born in 1899. This house finally had a bathroom added to the back of the house, probably in the 1950s. It also had a back porch where canned fruits and vegetables and other food items were stored. This is a picture of the smokehouse where meats were cured, corn was stored, and other food items were placed for safekeeping. Unfortunately, the smokehouse was torn down in the late 1980s, but we hope to rebuild a replica of it as soon as funds can be secured. The restoration project was completed in 2009 with the meeting room, half bath, and a storage room. The Harriet Barber House has been open to the public since that time for a variety of programs, reunions, and historic celebrations. The Barber family has held its family reunion here starting in 1979 and also in 1981, 2001, 2007, 2009, 2011, 2013, and 2019. The historic eclipse in August of 2017 brought the largest crowd here, with visitors who came from all over South Carolina, North Carolina, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., Virginia, California, Texas, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Canada, France, Argentina, and the UK. Paul Simard was one member of the group from Canada who came to the Harriet Barber House to photograph the eclipse. His photograph of the total eclipse is on display here. Simard is a skyward editor for the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, and he has created a documentary to tell the story of the group's visit to the eclipse at the historic Harriet Barber House in Hopkins. In February of 2019, the doors are open to the public again for the viewing of the Smithsonian traveling exhibit, Crossroads: Change in Rural America. Tours continued until March 24th, with visitors coming from neighboring communities and states. Since opening its doors to the public in 2009, the historic Harriet Barber House has truly been a home for history in Hopkins.